Hey, what's up, guys? Dustin Steiner from Esports Max here. I'm here at Evolution 2014 with Arcadia Tampa Bison. How you doing today, man?
Doing all right.
All right, great. Well, we've never really had the chance to talk before. Go ahead and tell me a little bit about how you got into Street Fighter and fighting games in general.
I started off after I went to a trade school in Kentucky. After I came back, I really had nothing to do, so I started playing on a client called GGPO online. And that's when I started playing Alpha 3 on a keyboard. I didn't have I didn't know how it worked. You know, I never played in the arcades. I was never that person. You know, and coming from New York, that's a surprise to people. Right. You know, because obviously that's where the scene is. Right. So I moved down to Florida. I was around 16 years old. I started playing. I started playing Alpha 3, and I had to learn how to play Street Fighter from the ground up. I don't have talent. I'm not like a young stud like CJ or Knuckle doing nothing like that. Like I don't have natural talent, so I had to learn from a lot of different sources. I had to ask a lot of questions. You know, I was definitely a scrub. Right on. Every intent of every definition of the word, I was a scrub.
How was playing with a keyboard on Alpha 3? That must have been pretty hard.
No, because I grew up playing games on my keyboard, so I already had the dexterity for it. It wasn't much, and I wasn't accustomed to anything else. I wasn't a console guy. I never played on a pad, never played on an arcade stick. I grew up on a computer. You know, my dad owned a computer company, so there was no shortage of computers in the house. So I was always on a keyboard playing everything.
Right on. And then how have you kind of like, you know, built yourself up in terms of like, you know, exposure and things like that? Like how has that been for you?
Oh, you mean like just how I did it, or how does it feel?
Both.
It's definitely a new thing for me. Like people, just like before we started, like, you know, guys came up to me, asked me to sign their shirt. I'm not used to that, and I'm not used to being treated like a celebrity. I don't want it to go to my head or nothing like that. But it's definitely fun. It's definitely fun that people respect you for what you do. You know, I've been doing this for 6 years, and it's finally paying off. As you know, people are finally approaching me, and they like kind of look up to me in a way. You know, like I want my Bison to be as good as yours. Right. What do I do? How do you feel? They care about my opinion. That's not something I'm ever used to. Right. You know, playing fighting games, I'm not used to people, you know, giving a damn about what I think. People actually go out their way to not care about what I think. You know, so it's definitely. I could get used to this. Right, it's definitely a good feeling, you know. And how I got there is, you know, like I said, is a lot of playing good players online. You know, I played like Alioun v Ryu, basically a bunch of, you know, guys from the UK, Alpha 3, right. And you know, those are a lot of good players. They know a lot about the game, so that's how I learned. But it did take a long time. It took a lot of hard work and a lot of missing out on a social life entirely. So. It wasn't worth it in the beginning, but it's getting there. Okay.
Right on. So how was, like, did you transition right from Alpha 3 to Street Fighter 4? Or
yeah,
like
Street Fighter 4 came out, I actually started playing with Ryu because obviously, you know, that's the best character to start out with, and you're trying to learn the game, the mechanics. And like I said, I don't have talent. I'm not like a natural. So when I first played Street Fighter 4, it was like Alpha 3 all over again. I sucked for like 3 years. You know, that's why I've been playing since vanilla, but you didn't start hearing about me until like, what, like early last year maybe? Yeah. So, you know, it took that long. And, you know, a few opportunities, you know, just like this one with our Arcadia, you know, like, it takes opportunities like that for me to just showcase who I am. And for other people that don't know about me to, like, learn to appreciate me. And that's the kind of thing that keeps me pushing and it keeps me going. I really like it.
Right on. All right, so you were with the team before. You were with Empire Arcadia for a little while there. Could you talk to me a little bit about that experience? Don't go too much in detail, just a little bit.
I would like to read my capo post word for word now, because
I want word for word. Just summarize it.
It was nice in the beginning because, you know, the only reason I feel like the only reason Triforce gets these people, like a lot of people ask the question, how do they get how always gets these kids? He's brainwashing them. It's not really brainwashing. When you go up to someone who doesn't know anything about what you do and you start talking to them, they have no way of being smart enough. You know, people act like everyone on EMP is like, you know, borderline retarded because they joined a guy like Triforce. Right. And it's really not that case. When you don't know about something and you're exposed to it, you have to listen to whoever's exposing you to it. Like you can't like deny them. You don't have the experience to say, oh, well, you know, esports is not going to be that big like that, Triforce. You can't really, there's no way. That's why he gets, like, people who don't know better. Sure. And from there, I didn't know better, right. You know, a year and a half ago. Other people don't know better either. Like, they hear it's all hearsay. It's like they hear things from the internet, you know, YouTube videos. It's never like they see it up front. And what prompted me to leave was that I saw it with my own 2 eyes. So everything I say is 100% truth. And it's just, it was just like, it was good at first because I thought, like, you know, all the stuff he was saying about how, you know, this thing's gonna blow up and, you know, it's gonna be like Dota, you know, $10 million, you know, prizes. He was telling me all that good stuff, and, you know, and not knowing anything, you know, still being like a kid at heart, you want to play games and make money off it. You kind of like get hyped about it. You kind of get excited. So you listen to him. You go, okay, Triforce, I'll follow you wherever you go, you know, and the reality of it is, it's just not that way. It takes a lot of sacrifice, you know. Those are like a lot of buzzwords he uses to get people to join his cause. You know, they say he uses words like sacrifice and martyr. If you ever heard him talk, he talks like that, like a medieval guy. You know, it's because he wants you to buy into, you know, being a stepping stone. You know, being one of those guys. You know, and history is full of people like that. You know, they tell you have to lay down for someone else to walk across you. You know, and it doesn't have to be like that. It's just video games. It's not like politics or nothing. It's just video games. So it doesn't have to be like that. It's still gonna be a hobby. Even if this whole thing does blow up, it should still be viewed as a hobby. Like, don't like not go to school, or don't do this 24/7 and then go to a tournament and then go like 3-2, you know, and barely get by. And it's not gonna suddenly blow up for you one day. You know, it took me 6 years to get to this point. Now I'm 25 and like, okay, I probably got to stop soon. It's not working out, you know. So, but you know, as long as you look at it as a hobby, and obviously avoid EMP, because I honestly, personally, I don't feel like that's gonna bring you anywhere. Except maybe a little bit of notoriety, like, oh, you're on EMP, you know, with names like Justin Wong and Dominion and stuff. It's just being associated with those guys is all you're gonna get out of EMP. That's it. That's basically it. So that's all I really got out of it.
Right on. So you're not really of the opinion that, like, you know, esports and you know, the fighting games and things like that are really ever gonna blow up
one day, but I always had this theory that the reason why like Dota and League of Legends blew up so fast is because it's not that urban. Not to sound like racist or whatever people may think, but it's very, Street Fighter is very urban. All you needed was a quarter and some legs, you know, to walk to the arcade, play some games. So a lot of people who couldn't afford that stuff, which basically minorities, like, you know, we couldn't afford that stuff back in the day. I know I couldn't. So that was it. You know, like, that's all it cost. But, you know, League and Dota and all that stuff, you have to have like top-notch computer. You got to have a bunch of free time. You know, you probably got it like that. So it's a little more accessible to like I guess the bigger percentage of people, you know, majorities, I guess you want to call them. So, but I feel like eventually, you know, because the FGC is growing from the ground up, basically. It's really organic. So I feel like maybe like 10 years or so. 10 years or so, we'll be like League of Legends level, but it's going to be real slow. And if you don't have patience for it, it's not going to work out for you at all.
So do you think the Capcom Pro Tour is a step in the right direction?
Of course. Yeah, of course it does. I love it. You know, I love it. It's one of the best run tournaments, you know, besides UFGT. You know, that was another tournament that was really well run. But I think Capcom Cup is really up there. And it was really compact. You know, I never won so much money playing. So, of course, now I'm excited about this whole esports, you know, myth or whatever you want to call it. And, you know, I'm definitely on board with thinking that this is a good step for all of us, basically.
Right on. So, you know, I know we kind of got off track a little bit, you know, got into your background. Now we're at EVO. You know, tell me about what happened with your matches. You know, what happened to you today? Or yesterday, rather?
I basically lost to 2 really good players, you know, and I feel like that's because my area, you know, Tampa, we have good players down there, but we don't have. I don't think it's diverse enough, you know. There's a really good Cammy and nobody, and then there's like there's a really good Balrog down there by the name of Crespo. If you recognize that name, he almost beat Reinhardt at final round. He was a jab away and dropped it, and then he beat Dominion at CEO recently. So, like, those are really good players. So I know those 2 matches really well, you know. So that's why I do so well against K-Brad and PROG and all those people. But outside of that, there's not a lot of. It's compared. I'm not saying there's bad players down there. I'm just saying it's not like New York level. There's not a little taste of everything. It's not like Cali, so we're really behind in terms of that. So I feel like the reason I come here and I lose to like really good players is because I'm not prepared to play for that long. It's really mentally draining. You have to be ready for that.
Right on. So do you think like better netcode and Street Fighter 4 would certainly help with practicing?
Yeah, that's also another reason why Street Fighter is still behind, because it's not based on online play like Dota is, like, you know, strategy-based games in general. Like, you can actually get at the top echelon of players through online, almost exclusively through online. You don't have to like spend thousands of dollars to go to an EVO or go to a UFGT or a Summer Jam. You don't have to do that. Right. So it's really more cost effective from you know, people in the FGC.
Sure.
So I feel like that slows us down a little bit.
Right on. All right, so, you know, getting back to EVO again, you know, now that you're out, you know, what have you been up to? Have you been like enjoying yourself here?
Yeah. I mean, of course. I mean, I've never been here before. Always told myself that, you know, buying an expensive plane ticket and being in Vegas, just in the general area, you know, you're gonna want to gamble, you're gonna want to drink, and I don't do either, really. Right. So I don't want to like poison myself, so to speak. I know I sound weird, but I've always told myself, like, I would probably never go to EVO if I had to pay for it myself, because it's just too expensive. And unless I'm in a position to win EVO, as in if I'm at least get a couple other major wins under my belt before I try to challenge EVO, because, you know, I'm a pretty realistic person. I know I'm not going to come here and win EVO without the proper experience. Right. But I'm glad, like, I never expected Arcadia to even vote for me, honestly. I didn't, you know, it was probably mostly because of the EMP stuff. But it's, I mean, I thank them for it, honestly. You know, I appreciate it. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it, because I would have probably never even considered coming here without it. And I probably would never do it again. Like, if they try to do it next year, I'd probably say no, because I don't like receiving that much money and all I have to do is wear a t-shirt, and I couldn't even do that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel really bad about that, you know. And so I would probably someone else more deserving next year, you know, if they do it again. You know, I couldn't handle it. It makes you feel too bad.
All right. Oh, right on, man. Do you have any closing words or shout-outs before we let you go and get back to enjoying EVO?
Shout-outs to the Tampa crew, the Osan crew, everybody in Tampa, everybody in Florida, really, because we're really underdeveloped, because we don't have, like, we don't have a next level down there. We don't have a Wednesday night fights to really showcase the talent down there. You know, I'm not good for no reason. Right. You know, the one thing I said is, you know, we don't have the diversity, but we still have good players that are talented with their characters, you know. Sure. And it gets me in the mindset to play these good players, you know, with my own intelligence and experience. So I feel like I owe a lot to them, you know, I owe a lot to the players in Tampa for how good I am now. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Tampa Bison, for your time. All right, and this has been Dustin Steiner from Esports Max here with Tampa Bison. You can follow us on Twitter at Esports Max. You can follow me at Get Steinered, and you can follow Tampa Bison at
Tampa_Bison on Twitter.
All right. Well, thank you, and you know, just continue watching our EVO 2014 coverage at esportsmax.com.